This is my salary approach looking back at last week at the wide receiver position. And I'm going to start with somebody who most of you maybe are not familiar with, but Western Illinois, the Leathernecks, Dennis Houston had a game for the ages 11 catches, 175 yards, two touchdowns. Also had three carries for another 5 yards and a rushing touchdown. So you won't see him, probably at all this year, but if he gets to the right postseason bowl game, I expect him to be a guy that gains some buzz. Moving on, Devin Tompkins of Utah State. He's a very small guy, but dynamic. 9 catches, 188 yards, one touchdown with a long of 72. And he's also a guy that can return punts and kicks. Just so fun to watch. Another small school guy, Merrimack's Jakari Carter had 18 catches. I said 18 catches for 131 yards. Also had three punt returns for 26 yards. And special teams is going to be the secret to him making an NFL roster if he does so. I have to talk about Eastern Washington's Johnny Edwards. So he only had three catches, but went for 126 yards, two touchdowns with a long of 76, and he's got what looks like real track and field type speed. I'll be watching him from this point forward. Rafael Williams from Western Carolina had a great game. 8 catches, 132 yards, two touchdowns with a long of 40. This is a really good wide receiver class. I know you keep saying that, but it's still true. Jalen McMillan had a really nice day. 10 catches, 175 yards, and a touchdown. Drake London of USC, who I probably like more than most, but I think this kid is essentially just the line I wrote when I wrote down his scouting report was I called him Mike Evans at 33 and a third. If you're old enough to get the reference, then you're old. But yes, a beast performance. 13 catches, 170 yards, two touchdowns. Essentially took the game over at one point. Terrific group. I like this group. Georgie Flagler, right? 126 yards and a touchdown and 5 catches. Shows real quickness, real speed. Justin Smith, right? Norfolk State University. Once again, interest of full disclosure, that is my alma mater, but he had a really good game. 5 catches, 118 yards, two touchdowns. Xavier Gibson of Stephen F. Austin, 131 yards, two touchdowns, sorry. Also had a couple of punt returns for 78 yards and a touchdown. Truly dynamic. Another guy who has a really strong track and field background, and it shows. Treylon Burks, right? The monster from Arkansas. 3 catches for 127 yards. Calvin Austin. Speaking of, I talked about sort of small but super dynamic. Devin Tompkins up there at Utah State, and sort of the same type of guy is Memphis Calvin Austin. He had a return touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown. He had 3 receiving touchdowns. It got him to game wrecker, and he really reminds me a lot of Dante Hall. I almost wanted to see him throw up the X. Those are my wide receiver superlatives for week 3.